We usually talk about the kinetic threat, the threat from Al-Qaeda. I just got back from Pakistan, Afghanistan, or Iraq, and that's normally what we talk about. But tonight we're talking about a different issue, and it's probably one of the most serious threats of the future, and that's our cybersecurity. And when you listen to people like the chairman, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Admiral Mike Mullen, he'll tell you it's one of the greatest threats that we will face. And he says that because he knows what we are capable of doing. He knows what our Air Force, what our military can do. We can go in and destroy things by cyber. That technology in the wrong hands can be very destructive. And it's like the genie's out of the bottle. Just like when we invented the nuclear bomb, we had the technology there. That technology in the wrong hands can be very devastating. The internet can do great things, creative, for many creative people, but technology can be also used against us. And so with that, I want to, I think, a good intro to this clip here. I'm going to show 3 very short clips, and this is the first of the series.
John Kieran, a bipartisan panel says the nation is losing the battle in cyberspace and must act quickly to gain the upper hand. On a par with global jihad and weapons of mass destruction is the threat from cyber attack, according to a high-powered commission. The panel says the cyber theft of business and military information is jeopardizing the U.S. economy and national security.
Imagine if agents of a foreign power were caught stealing files, paper files out of the Pentagon, the amount of outrage that would engender across this country. It would be on the front page of all the newspapers. And yet that is exactly what is occurring today in the virtual world.
So the point is, it is occurring. So imagine that. And the Admiral always talks about imagination. 9/11, the failure of imagination. And when it comes to cybersecurity, there's so much you can imagine in terms of threats. There are so many out there. Espionage occurs every day. Every federal agency has been hacked into, including the Pentagon. And when I first got into this, like 6 years ago, when I was on that commission they were talking about, I was surprised to learn that every agency had been hacked into. That enormous amounts of data have been stolen the size of the Library of Congress. That the CIA every day has 100,000 hacks, attempts to get into it. The House of Representatives, 1 million per month. Secrets have been stolen. They want to find sensitive military weapons systems. And as the Admiral mentioned, most of this is coming from China and Russia. And their motto is, why invent it when you can steal it? Right? So why not go into NASA and get some rocket technology that they don't have to create? This is the enormous threat from an espionage standpoint. But when you look at the intellectual property standpoint, the theft is even more enormous. Every day, private industry is hacked into, and intellectual property is stolen, primarily again from Russia and China. I think General Alexander, who's the NSA director, U.S. Cyber Command coordinator, said it's the largest transfer of wealth in the history of this world. $1 trillion has been stolen off the internet. And so that kind of gets your attention in terms of the intellectual property issue that the Admiral talked about. Lastly, the thing that keeps me up at most at night, but it's something we're protecting very hard against, and that is the cyber warfare attack. The intent behind cyber warfare is not to steal, not to fish for information, it is to bring things down. Cyber warfare attack is designed to destroy, essentially. We've seen this happen. We know the technology's out there to do it. I want to show you a clip of a classified program that I was briefed on many years ago that has since become declassified, and you can see kind of the interest I had when I first saw this classified program.
A group of scientists and engineers at the Department of Energy facility wanted to see if they could physically blow up and permanently disable a 27-ton power generator using the internet.
If you can hack into that control system, you can instruct the machine to tear itself apart, and that's what the Aurora test was. Then If you've seen the video, it's kind of interesting because the machine starts to shudder, you know, it's clearly shaking and smoke starts to come out. It destroys itself.
And what would be the real world consequences of this?
The big generators that we depend on for electrical power are, one, expensive, two, no longer made in the US, and three, require a lead time of 3 or 4 months to order them. So it's not like if we break one, we can go down to the hardware store and get a replacement. If somebody really thought about this, they could knock a generator out, they could knock a power plant out for months, and that's the real consequence.
So everything is tied to the internet, and that is what makes us vulnerable. That open portal to the internet makes us vulnerable to a cyber attack of this magnitude. Bring down power generators through the click of a mouse. When I was briefed on that in a classified context, we really shuddered about the implications of this. The idea that we could bring down somebody, not in our best interest, could bring down power across the United States. And not just power, but every critical infrastructure. Our financial institutions, if they could hack into that, which they tried to do, they could cause economic chaos. The FAA, air traffic controllers. All of a sudden the planes are in the sky without any direction. Water systems. You can go on and on. Again, anything tied to the internet is vulnerable to this sort of cyber attack. So who would be interested in doing this? The Admiral pointed to Anonymous. There are groups like Anonymous, you know, the WikiLeaks case. We call them anarchists. They're trying to make a statement, I think. They're trying to expose things in the government. They're kind of like guys that would take the rocks and try to break your windows to embarrass you. But what if they converted to other ideologies? That's a concern that we have. But when you look at Iran, then you look at North Korea, when you look at some of the terrorist organizations that want to have this capability, it's not too far-fetched to see a world where they do have that capability to bring things down. And that's what we want to, first and foremost, protect against. There was a plot uncovered that arose in Mexico. Now, the next video I want to show you, that was very alarming, and a lot of people don't know about this. The Iranian ambassador was involved in this plot. And the idea was with the Venezuelan diplomats and Iranian and Cubans to launch a cyber attack out of Mexico directly to the United States. Why is this important? Well, obviously things with Iran are very tense right now. Straits of Hormuz, the Iranian scientists, Stuxnet, that incredible, that incredible virus that shut down 1/5 of of Iran's nuclear capability. 1/5 blew up their centrifuges. They want to retaliate against us in a cyber way. So what they're trying to do in this video, you'll see, is to cultivate these Mexican students to conduct a cyber attack against critical infrastructures in the United States at really the highest levels. And with that, we'll go to the next clip.
Munoz had to wait almost a full year for the second meeting in November of 2007 with Mohammad Ghadiri, the new Iranian ambassador. In this video, which Univision obtained exclusively, Ghadiri is seated beside Guerrero Luturov, who died of a heart attack in 2008, leaving behind many questions about his role in the alleged plot. Univision contacted the Cuban embassy in Mexico for comment regarding these allegations, but did not receive a response. In another conversation, Ambassador Ghadiri asked Munoz to steal the passwords that protect the computer networks of U.S. nuclear plants.
Now it's very important to know about what they have in mind, attack Iran or not. Nuclear weapons of that. The professor says, locate the nuclear plants in the United States. Yes, it's very important. Military and non-military. Okay. We must ask you that which companies we can attack, because the systems are very, very weak in comparison of the military and CIA and National Security Agency are very, very easy to enter and, like a metaphor, put a bomb in the digital one. Yes, digital.
We interviewed Mohammad Ghadiri in Tehran via satellite.
Juan Carlos Muñoz Ledo nos dijo a nosotros que él sostuvo varias reuniones con usted cuando fue embajador de Irán en México. ¿Se recuerda de esas reuniones?
No me recuerdo el nombre.
¿Alguna vez habló con ellos sobre la creación de virus cibernéticos o intentos de penetrar los sistemas de seguridad de Estados Unidos?
Ahora me recuerdo, sí, ellos han propuesto de esto, nosotros hemos dicho esto no es nuestro trabajo. Hemos